Welcome, welcome. We're seeing attendees jumping in here. Thanks so much for taking time out of your night to come and hear about student employment. Give it another 30 seconds and then we'll just let people continue to join as they do. Why don't we go ahead and start with our introduction. So first and foremost, just welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Aaron Janowski. I'm an admission counselor here in the admission office here at Gonzaga. And welcome to the student employment webinar, our final spring admitted student webinar of the season on a weighty topic. We saved the best for last. Decision day is coming up real quickly on May 1st. It's an exciting time, and hopefully we'll be able to answer some of the questions that you may have about student employment before you make your final decisions. I'm going to be monitoring the chat, so be sure to be posting any questions you have in the Q&A space at the bottom of your Zoom bar. And we will have some time in the middle and then as well at the end, just to ensure that everybody is getting their questions answered. I'm going to pass it over and have the rest of our wonderful attendees and our panelists introduce themselves, and we will get started.
Thank you, Aaron. Good evening, and thank you for joining us to learn more about student employment for admitted students at Gonzaga University. My name is Sarah Groh, and I work as a program assistant in Gonzaga Student Employment Office. Once again, I want to welcome you to our student employment webinar. Joining me tonight is another member of our student employment team and a few of our current student employees on campus. I will let them introduce themselves in a little bit. As you continue to join us this evening, let's get to know you a little bit. Let's start by telling us what part of the US or the world you are part of. Let's use the chat feature for this. Let's see if there are any other future ZAGs in your area. So feel free to use that chat feature to type where you're coming from tonight. We're looking for some chat to see where people are coming from tonight. Hopefully that'll start to filter in. But thank you for taking time to join us this evening to learn more about student employment and working on campus. As we still have people joining, we're excited for you to be with us this evening. We're just sharing in the chat where we're zooming in from. We're going to wait about another minute to make sure we have most everybody. Oh. Aaron, I've got messages saying the chat is disabled.
Fix that. Sorry, folks. Give me 1 second.
Thanks for letting us know. Just bear with us. We're getting that chat up and going so you guys can share where you're from tonight.
Let's see if that worked. Can you guys use it now?
There we go. We've got some friends from California, Portland, LA, Seattle, Bay Area. Hi, Salem, Minnesota. Wow, all over the place. Keep them coming in. To be mindful of everyone's time, we're going to get started, but feel free to keep dropping where you're coming in from. Welcome again to our admitted Gonzaga students. My name is Sarah Groh, and I work as a program assistant in the Student Employment Office, and I'm one of your hosts this evening. You may have noticed we're recording this webinar for those unable to attend, for you to view later, and it will be posted on the admissions YouTube channel. You will also receive a copy of this in your email in the coming days. During our presentation, we would love to answer your questions. Tonight, we'll begin with talking about the benefits of working on campus and then transition into how to job search. So we may wait to answer some of those questions as the information will be provided a bit later in the session. Some of our colleagues will answer questions, or we may answer some of them live. We want to stress we will only answer questions in the Q&A. We will try our best to answer as many questions as possible. As a reminder, please do not disclose any personal information as everyone will be available to see your information. If you have specific questions, please don't hesitate to contact our Student Employment Office. Additionally, throughout the evening, we will be utilizing some poll questions to make this a bit more interactive for you. At this time, let's do some introductions. Katrina?
Good evening. I am Katrina Rambo, a counselor on the student employment team, and I also serve as a student worker supervisor. Today, we are excited to have two Gonzaga student workers joining us to share their story. I'll turn it over to them for their introductions. Kenzie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Kenzie. I am a senior nursing major and I work as an admin assistant in the Student Financial Services.
Great. Next, let's meet Carly.
Hello, my name is Carly. I am a sophomore at Gonzaga and I am a biology major. And on campus, I work as a biology research assistant.
Thanks to both of you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us. Before we go any further, we wanted to take a moment to highlight our vision for student employment. So please take a little bit of time to read over the vision. We are committed to upholding Gonzaga's overall mission and use our office's vision to streamline the student employment process to best serve our student workers and supervisors. Our policies are developed with the utmost of care and reflect the value of working while in college. At this time, Sarah's going to share our office's contact information in the chat, so you will have it for questions now or later. When assisting students, we take a team approach, so know that anyone on our staff can assist you. We invite you to reach out with questions at any time. Regardless of whom you have spoken to on our team, we can all pick up where the discussion left off and assist you to keep the student employment process moving forward. Please know if you don't get your questions answered today or come up with additional questions later on, we are here to support you.
Tonight in this info session, we hope you gain insight on how to navigate the student employment process, learn about the benefits of working, and be prepared to launch your job search in early August. This will help you come to campus prepared and ready to potentially work. On Gonzaga's campus, you may hear the word work study and student employee used interchangeably. Well, what is work study? Work study funding is based on a student's FAFSA information. Students can see if they have been awarded work study through their financial aid offer in ZagWeb. Work study funding is available on a first come, first served basis. If you aren't sure if you've been awarded work study, you can review your financial aid offer in ZagWeb. Not sure how to view your financial aid offer? Please visit gonzaga.edu/offer. Keep in mind, work study funding is not a guarantee of student employment. However, if your student hasn't been awarded work study, they can still work on campus. Students are in the driver's seat of their job search. Let's go ahead and launch our first poll question. Is work study required to be a student employee? Take a moment to answer the question for us. Starting to see lots of answers coming in. Is work study required to be a student employee? We're going to get ready to close that poll in just another second. All right, we're going to close that poll now. Great. It looks like most of you understood. The correct answer is no. Work study is not required to be a student employee. Anyone that's a student can work on campus.
Now that we know it's possible for any student to work, let's talk about the feasibility of doing so. What would you do with $125 extra a week? In Washington State, the minimum wage is $15.74 per hour, and this is the typical pay rate for on-campus jobs. In recent years, we've had over 1,200 student employees working on campus. Rest assured, you won't be the only one working while going to college. You will see a lot of your peers juggling their schedules to work around campus too. The average earnings per semester are around $1,500, and the money is paid directly to you and is not applied to your Gonzaga bill. You get to manage your earnings. Students on average work about 8 to 10 hours per week, but never more than 20. This limit is in place to ensure you have adequate time to focus on your academics while balancing work along with your social activities. We will talk a little more about how to do your job search later, but for now, just know that you get to select which jobs you apply for and ultimately the job offer you'd like to accept. We hope each student selects a job they enjoy doing. From my perspective as a supervisor, the student is in the driver's seat for mapping out reasonable work hours to fit around their class schedule. For example, our student worker, Lindsay, has been with our office for 4 years and works around 8 to 10 hours a week. She schedules about 2 hours of work per day in between her classes. Her schedule on Monday, Wednesday, Friday looks different than the schedule she sets up for Tuesdays and Thursdays. Lindsay has plenty of time to get to and from classes and takes time off as needed for study groups, academic commitments, holidays, etc. The key to making this setup work is through our regular check-ins and effective communication. At this time, let's hear some insight from our panelists who are current student workers. Kenzie, let me call on you. Can you please share how you fit your job into your busy schedule?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, sorry, I'm a nursing student, and as a nursing student, I have a pretty heavy class load the first 2 years, and then the last 2 years I do clinicals. And my supervisor's been really great working with me these past 2 years to work around my clinical schedules. It's not uncommon that I'll need to change my schedule multiple times in a semester because my rotations are changing. And so that's been a really great benefit about having this on-campus job, is just the flexibility to work around my classes and clinicals.
Sounds great. Thanks for sharing that. How about you, Carly? Would you mind sharing how feasible it is to work and maybe, your student employment position benefits?
Yeah, so for me, it's really nice because in the position that I'm in, it's consistently the same hours every week. So it's not constantly changing schedules or anything like that. So I know exactly where I need to be to get my job done. And that really allows me to kind of schedule for tests or how long I need to study for something, or even schedule like social hours with my friends and how much time I have to do those things.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that information. So Sarah, let's go ahead and launch our second poll, please. So the question is, what is the maximum number of hours of work allowed per week? So go ahead and pop on your responses. You seem to have a favorite here, which is good. All righty. So the correct answer is 20. Most of you provided that response, which is great. We want to see that. Most students, again, work an average of 8 to 10 hours per week, and work hours are mapped out directly with the supervisor. They can vary from semester to semester and during midterms, finals weeks, and holiday breaks, just like what Kenzie and Carly were kind of reiterating. So let's go ahead and move on.
Thanks, Katrina. Now let's explore some of the benefits of working on campus. Some of you may be thinking, why would I work on campus when I can work off campus? One of the main goals as a student employee is to be able to balance academics, work, and other obligations. Let's see what our experts have to say. Carly, can you share a bit of why you chose to work on campus as opposed to off campus?
Yeah, so like we were saying before, the hours are flexible. And for me, I got to choose which hours I wanted to work and which days of the week I wanted to work, which was super nice. And then also the job that I do here on campus as a research assistant really wasn't available anywhere off campus. So it's a really unique opportunity. If you're a bio major or into sciences, there's a lot of research opportunities for you here on campus.
What about you, Kenzie?
Yeah, similar to Carly, just the flexible hours and like your supervisor knows that you are a student first. So that's really great that, you know, if you need to take that time off to prioritize being a student first, we have that opportunity. And then also I chose freshman year to work, I wanted an on-campus job simply because I didn't have a car. And so having this really convenient location of a job on campus is really great and a big benefit for me, at least.
Thank you. Our office has identified 6 areas that a student can benefit from while working on campus. Some of these areas Carly and Kenzie have touched on already, but the first area is flexibility. Working on campus means that your job is just a short walk away from whichever campus building you're in. This can be helpful when you're heading straight to work from class. If you have an awkward break between classes, this is a perfect way to fit in work. Not only is it conveniently placed, but your supervisor is also happy to support your busy schedule. Student supervisors understand that there is a lot on a student's plate, so they are more than happy to accommodate your work schedule with your class schedule, your personal life, and your general well-being. Accountability also allows students to learn to balance their academics, work, and life. They can juggle the different expectations, timelines, and responsibilities. Working on campus also allows the opportunity to network. Students not only get to meet those in the area they are working, but have opportunities to connect with others in the Gonzaga community. These relationships allow the opportunity for mentorship, building, and professional ties. Carly, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. You shared with Katrina and I a little bit about how you came about your student employment job. Can you tell us kind of the networking piece that happened there and how you came about your job?
Yeah, so I work with a specific professor here on campus, and she's kind of like my mentor. And so my first semester freshman year, I had a class with her and just really enjoyed her teaching and her passion for biology. So then I set up an email and a meeting with her and met with her and talked about researching with her. And so now I have this great connection within the field with her.
Great, thanks for sharing. Also, working in an office comprised of both students and full-time faculty or staff on campus jobs will teach you about interactions with people and customers working in the real world. Full-time staff and faculty love to interact with students and are more than willing to help a ZAG, whether that's answering questions that are about work or non-work related. Furthermore, the skills you will learn on the job are invaluable. They can be transferred to any job you will have in the future. Many of our on-campus jobs are customer-facing and teach excellent customer service skills, which can be applied to any job you move on to next. Other jobs integrate more critical thinking or problem solving, giving you a wide variety of jobs to choose from based on the skills you're most interested in exercising on a day-to-day basis. That being said, almost all of our jobs have pieces of all these skills: interpersonal communication, problem solving, and critical thinking. So don't feel like you can go wrong choosing a job, even if it's not directly correlated to your field of study. Kenzie, I'm gonna put you on the spot as a nursing major. You're obviously working in an administrative customer-facing position. How do you see this? I know that you're gonna be graduating in a couple weeks. How do you see this helping you in your career?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of benefits I've gained from working in this office. First of all, like Sarah was talking about, just customer service skills. Like my job, I'm sitting up front and I'm the first person to greet people coming into the office, and I'm answering phone calls and problem solving with students. And then also just getting to work with a professional team and learning to be professional and what that kind of looks like, I think is a really valuable thing I've gained, while also like being comfortable in my space that I'm working. So those are two great things. And then also I would say just like good attention to detail. A lot of the projects I've worked on in the office require really needing pay a lot of attention. And so that's been something that I think has been beneficial, just being able to like focus on a project and see it through.
Great, thanks for sharing. I can definitely see how those skills are going to translate into your nursing career as you start here next fall. Another area that is a benefit for students is the ability to incur less debt. For all students, no matter their financial aid or background, having an on-campus job is a wonderful way to incur less debt. This income can be used to buy anything from books for classes, grocery, having some extra spending money. On-campus jobs come with many invaluable benefits and can be easily managed with a class schedule. Having this extra income on the side offers students the opportunity to become financially independent for the first time, making it an excellent experience of independence and responsibility that can be used in interviews and jobs in the future. Career exploration. The transition from being a student to the next step in life can seem intimidating, but an on-campus job offers a platform that can be used to get to know what you may be interested in pursuing for the future. A job can help you hone in on what you're passionate about and what you want to spend your time doing, on top of discovering what you don't like doing, both on campus and beyond.
Throughout your student employment journey, our goal is to help you develop your work values and the skills needed to set yourself up for a future career. It's not just about making money to pay for college, but using this time to explore your options. By working, we hope you will gain effective communication skills, professionalism, and build transferable skills. This is the time to define what type of worker you want to become. Let's talk a little bit about each of these qualities. Effective communication is one of the essential abilities a student employee can demonstrate. Take the time to develop your communication style. It can be as simple as knowing in advance who to contact if you need to implement a schedule change or report an absence. Use active listening skills to learn about your job duties and performance expectations. Ask for clarification on projects and put forth your suggestions too. Also be willing to take direction. And don't hesitate to use nonverbal communication to be engaged in conversation, make eye contact, smile, take notes, show you're being attentive. Professionalism focuses on how individuals present themselves in behavior, attitude, and appearance within the workplace. Developing professional habits doesn't happen overnight, so embrace the gradual process and learn from those around you, such as a supervisor or mentor. Here are some helpful tips. Be productive and focused. Come to work with the mindset of working, because no, you aren't being paid to study, so take a break from your academics and refresh your mind. Utilize your time effectively and avoid distractions such as cell phone usage. Find a routine to comfortably start your day. Be on time, ready to approach your supervisor to understand the day's priorities. And then also don't forget to begin to create your own brand. Come to work with a positive, approachable attitude and show a willingness to take on the day. This impression can follow you in a reference later on. Dress appropriately for your job and know that most campus jobs have a very casual dress code, so you can easily transition from class to work with ease. And then lastly, let's talk about transferable skills. These demonstrate job readiness to employers. It's never too early to develop the skills you need to stand out to future employers. Samples of these skills include problem solving, time management, attention to detail, critical thinking, and customer service. The experts in our Career and Professional Development Office suggest you keep track of these new skills along the way by keeping your resume up to date. This is just one of the helpful tips they have to share. We invite all students to get acquainted with their office early on and its free services. Even as an incoming freshman, you can get help to set up your resume or cover letter, develop an elevator speech, and set up a mock interview. Let the experts look over your documents and provide you with helpful feedback and advice so you have confidence to apply for jobs, even if you haven't worked before. Carly, let me call on you. Can you please share some of the skills you have gained in your role as a student worker? You talked about a few of them, but just some highlights.
Yeah, so I've been able to gain a lot of like niche skills to like what I really want to do in life, like a lot of lab skills. But I've also had to really learn how to be like good at collaborating with other people that work within my lab and also being able to like present my research to the public. So communication is a huge skill that I've learned.
Great. How about you, Kenzie? If you were to add these skills onto your resume, what are some of the ones that stand out for you?
Yeah, I can talk about the ones I did put on my resume too. I think
Great.
I on my resume just highlighted along with communication, like Carly said, just attention to detail, customer service skills, accountability, professionalism.
Great. All important aspects. So hopefully all of you out there will consider working because this really will benefit you in the future.
So you've heard about some of the benefits and skills we hope you gain during your first year of student employment. Thinking of Gonzaga's campus, where do you think you can work or where might you want to work? Let's type our answers in the chat. So thinking of campus, where do you think you can work or where might you want to work? Library, that's a great one. Rec Center Gym, yep. Our Rudolph Fitness Center. Oh, tours, Aaron, your way. Cool. We're always looking for lifeguards over there. That's a great resource if you're a lifeguard. Seeing lots of good answers. Let's take a look at where, oh, tutors. Yes, absolutely tutors. Let's take a look at where some of our students do work. So you'll see here some of the different departments where students currently work on campus. We have our law library. Over in modern languages, we have tutors. Our bio and chemistry labs, not just doing research, but setting up labs for classes, our theater, the Junk Museum, our campus newspaper, photographers, and all of the schools of study that you see, and so many more. Before we move on, we're going to launch one more poll. This is a commonly asked question, but we haven't talked about it yet. So let's get ready to launch that poll real quick. Excuse me. Do I have to begin my job search during the fall semester or can I wait? Like I said, this is a question we have not answered. Do I have to begin my job search during the fall semester or can I wait? Give it a few more seconds while people are still clicking in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. So it looks like the majority said no, but we have a handful that are unsure and a few that said yes. Well, the correct answer is no. You do not have to begin your job search in the fall, but we do recommend to secure your job sooner rather than later, as options can become more limited as we head into the spring semester, as those positions typically carry over from fall into spring. Some students have found it helpful to get a job in the fall and then wait to start work until like the second week of classes, so they've had the opportunity to settle in. The job board is always open. Aaron, do we have any burning questions at this time? And this is a great time. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the Q&A. We are going to have time later on, but we just want to take a minute to pause and see if there's anything right now.
There's one question about some opportunities that may exist off campus. I believe that might be a better question for later, though. So we will answer that, but we'll wait a minute before we do.
Perfect.
I see a question that came through in the chat about if student ambassadors are student workers. I'll just address that really quickly because that's my office. We do not pay our student ambassadors. It is a leadership position. We have a lot of great skills that students can receive by doing that, but that is not a paid position in our office. So something to keep in mind. Oh, we have a few more questions coming through. Questions about when jobs will be posted for the fall. I believe we're going to get there in a second. If there are IT jobs available on campus, when to start searching for what job you are looking for, and if everybody can get a job or only financial aid students. I'm assuming that's folks who submit a FAFSA. Maybe that last one we can answer.
Yeah, absolutely. So regardless if you have work study or not, every student is eligible to work on campus. So as long as you're an enrolled student, you have the opportunity to work on campus. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how to do that job search in a little bit. But yes, everyone has the opportunity to work on campus.
The only other question I see, how long do you keep a job and can you switch?
Kenzie, how long have you been in your job?
I've been in my job all 4 years. So since like first week of freshman year.
And students do have the opportunity. So if they find it's not a right fit, they are able to change jobs, but they are really in that driver's seat. But is it convenient, Carly or Kenzie, to keep your same job?
I've really liked keeping my same job just because over like the years I've been able to build a lot of connections with people in the office and like definitely become more skilled in my job, I guess, learning. And I'm a good resource for the new people coming in for questions and stuff for what we do as student workers.
Great. So I think now is a good time to go ahead and look at how to find our student employment positions. And that kind of ties into a lot of questions that were coming up. So now we've talked about the benefits of working. So let's learn how and when to do your job search. So here's a glance at the timeline so you will know what to expect. In July, you will receive an email from our Career and Professional Development Office letting you know you have access to Zags Ignite. That is the job search platform. You'll set up your profile and learn to navigate around Zags Ignite, upload your resume so it can run through the review and approval process. And if you need help getting a resume together, schedule an appointment with one of our experts. Then in early August, the Student Employment Job Board opens, so be sure to mark your calendar and get started with your job search. Map out your availability to work, launch your job search, and apply for several positions of interest. You don't want to apply for just one, just in case that doesn't work out. Really go take a browse, look through, and then anything that's of interest, go ahead and apply for. And then be prepared to hear back from supervisors to schedule interviews, which might happen via phone, virtual meetings, or through Zeg Mail. Even though you won't be on campus yet, these initial conversations can get started. And then after you apply for jobs, be sure to follow up about in 2 weeks or so to get a status update. You want to continue to show interest in those positions that you have identified. And then once you get a job offer, just know that you will need to go through a student employee hiring and onboarding process. Watch your email for detailed instructions, and we are here to help guide you through that process. Let's take time now to have Sarah show us around Zags Ignite. Again, this is the system that you'll use for your job search.
Zags Ignite is a shared job board between Career and Professional Development and our Student Employment Office. This means you can view full-time, part-time work, internships, and student employment, things here in Spokane and things across the country. As Katrina mentioned, in July, you'll receive an email to your Zag mail letting you know you have access to Zags Ignite. This will allow you to use your credentials you use for Zag Mail, Zag Web to sign in. So let's pretend you just got an email letting you know you have access to Zags Ignite. In your email, you should have a link that will take you directly to sign on. But how do you get there if you don't have the email or the link anymore? If you aren't familiar with MyGU or my.gonzaga.edu, this is an easy way to access things that you will commonly use, from Zagtivities to ZagWeb, Morning Mail, and much more. In this case, we want to access Zags Ignite. When you log into MyGU, you will be able to add apps that you frequently use. In this case, we want to add Zags Ignite. So select the plus, then it populates apps you're able to add. In this case, we're looking for Zags Ignite. As the items are displayed in alphabetical order, we scroll to the bottom, select the plus to add it to your apps. Now, Zags Ignite has been added to our apps. We can select it and begin the login process. Now you will be able to select student/alumni and then current student single sign-on. This should then sign you in. You'll be prompted to answer a few questions the first time to set up your profile. Now that you've set up your profile, you will land on the home page displayed here. The home page can change a little bit depending on upcoming events and activities. Let's look at a couple of the key things you will use when searching for student employment. One of the first things we recommend you do is to upload your resume. The reason we suggest this is because it will go through the review process by Career and Professional Development, meaning you can't apply for jobs right away. And remember, the job board isn't open yet for the academic year. To upload your resume, in the upper right-hand corner, select your initials and then My Documents. After selecting My Documents, you land in the Documents area. You should select Add New, label the item. An example for a label could be Resume 4/19/23, so you know the date you uploaded that. Select your file and then submit. Once you submit, your resume will show in the Documents area as pending. Once it's been reviewed, you'll receive feedback or it goes to approved. You also will notice you can upload other documents if necessary. Some job postings may ask for a cover letter, class schedule, or samples of work. All these items can be uploaded here, but do not require approval. The resume review process can take 24 to 48 hours, and sometimes a little bit longer depending on the time of the year. The best part of the review process is the ability to get feedback. The goal is you have the best representation of yourself, as this is your first impression when you apply for positions. This is why it's so important to do this step early to allow time for review. Now that we have our resume uploaded, let's take a look at how to job search. Let's assume it's August and the job board has now opened. To begin, to view the student employment position, select Jobs from the banner. We have now landed in the job board. Zags Ignite not only displays student employment positions, but it also displays full-time, part-time, internships, and much more, all in one location. This can quickly become overwhelming, as the things you're trying to find are just student employment. This is why we recommend applying some filters to help with your job search. Change the position type to student employment and select Apply. Then change all jobs and interviews to jobs I qualify for. Now, our job board is filtered to only show student employment jobs available. A couple things to note when reviewing the position. As you can see, there is a star and a save feature. This allows you to save positions you may think you want to apply for and come back and review those in the saved area. Now that you've reviewed positions, let's take a look at the application and interview process. Now you have selected positions that you would like to apply to. Select Apply, and a new window will launch to have you upload your resume and any supporting documents. Then don't forget to click Submit. To ensure you have applied for the positions you thought you did, go to My Job Applications. If you see no records found, that means your application wasn't submitted. If you see the job posting, then you know you've applied for those positions. Now that you've applied for those positions, be on the lookout for communications from employers. This communication can come in the form of a phone call or an email to your ZAG mail. Interviews may involve a Zoom video call or a telephone interview. Now that you've applied and begun the interview process, let's take a look at what happens if you get hired or you continue to job search. So what happens if you're offered a position? If you've secured a position, the next step is to be onboarded as a student employee. Student employment is real employment, and as such, students will need to complete a hiring form and an I-9. Your supervisor will provide you with information on how to complete the hire form, and our office communicates via your ZAG mail the requirements. One thing we want to stress is the importance of bringing proper documentation to complete your I-9. One of the main hiccups for students being able to start working is bringing copies of documents. The federal government requires the documents you present to be in original physical form. Once you have completed the hire process and have been cleared by our office to begin, work with your supervisor to finalize your schedule and begin working. Didn't land a position or didn't land the position you wanted? We encourage you to continue to search. Did you look at the job board only once when it opened? Go back and take a look. Those things can change daily. See if something new is posted and continue to apply. Follow up if you applied. Didn't hear back on an application and it's been more than 2 weeks? Reach out. Did you hear back? Great. Did you forget to ask for feedback? If not, go ahead and reach out and ask for some feedback. Reach out to our office for help. A member of our team is happy to sit down with you and help you with this process. Also, sometimes we offer a job fair. This provides you with an opportunity to meet those employers face to face. All right, we're going to launch one more poll. And our poll is, where can I search for jobs? ZAG Web, ZAG Mail, Zagtivities, or Zagsignite? Where can I search for jobs? And lots of responses coming in. Give it just another second. All right, we're gonna close that poll. Great job. So the answer is Zagsignite. That is our job board.
Sounds great. Thank you, Sarah, for walking us through that process. As we prepare to wrap up today's information session, we appreciate you joining us and want to maybe get to a few questions. I think we have time. And I want to circle back just to catch one of the questions that Aaron brought up early on. As to whether or not students can work off campus. Typically, our students stay right on campus here their freshman year to work. There are a few times where we have some exceptions, where we have some off-campus work study that might be able to be offered. So go ahead and reach out to our office. Let us know what your circumstance is, and we'd be glad to evaluate it. So Aaron, what other questions are you seeing that we might be able to answer?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple here. First, just to confirm for folks, when will the jobs start to be posted for the fall? If they're super eager and want to start figuring out what they're going to be doing, when should they start looking?
August, early August, right? In that first week of August is when we have supervisors coming back to campus. They know what their hiring needs are. So mark your calendars for early August.
Excellent. Another really good question. What specific documents should I have on hand?
That is a great question. So actually, when you receive your hire information, we will email you the list of acceptable documents, or you can go right out to the UCIS website, and they list the acceptable documentation that you can bring. The biggest thing is make sure it's the original. Please don't bring a copy. Unfortunately, if you bring the copy, we have to turn you away until you get those things. So it's just easier if you already have them and you're prepared, but you get an email with every document that you can present when you're onboarded.
All right. Do students with jobs have to file Washington state taxes?
So that honestly is more a payroll type of question. So payroll, basically a part of our onboarding process is having our student connect up with our payroll office to get everything in order. And so that would include any federal taxes, et cetera. So we would have to defer that question specifically to payroll.
Another question that was asked, are there specific roles in IT or in tech that students can apply for?
Yeah, we have in our computer labs, there's students supporting that area. Our next gen tech bar. Trying to think. I know we have a couple more, Katrina. Jepson Computer Lab.
You know, I can even think of maybe some of the areas within Foley or instructional design and development. Those areas kind of go along that IT vein. So
Perfect. Excellent. Okay. This is a good question. What are the benefits of having a work study awarded on your financial aid package if everyone can work when they arrive on campus?
So I think one of the benefits basically is there are certain positions that come about on our job board that are just work study eligible. And so it sometimes opens up those opportunities just a little bit more. But again, we really emphasize any student who wants to work should be able to come on campus and find a position. I can't specifically speak to some of the financial aid aspects, but they consider work study to be self-help. And so that does contribute towards some of the facts and figures that are presented on future FAFSA years. So yeah, anyone who's interested in getting work study should go ahead and file the FAFSA. And again, just to reiterate too, that's just a place marker sitting there on the financial aid offer. It's not a guarantee of a position, but it is, something that's opened up a little bit wider on the job board. But again, any student can get a job.
Awesome. Thank you, Katrina. Another question, do upperclassmen usually fill up the positions for work before younger students do?
So the job board opens the same time for everybody. So the only students that kind of have an advantage is a student that worked the year before that's returning to their same position. Otherwise, the job board is opening early August and everybody's getting access at the same time. So there's not like a priority where upperclassmen have access to those positions first. Everybody has equal opportunity to apply.
Angela asked a question about at some colleges, a job, including being an RA, covers room and board. Is that the case at Gonzaga? And are there other positions where the reimbursement maybe exceeds or covers that as well?
So we do have RA positions here at Gonzaga. They typically in the past have covered room and board, and then there's a small payment on top of that as well.
So we've had a lot of good questions coming through. Just a follow up to that question is, when can you be an RA? What year do you have to start?
I believe it's sophomore year. Definitely keep your eyes peeled. I would say December, January time as a freshman. You'll start to see some information about how to get your application materials in, but definitely you'll have that opportunity to apply, just not as a freshman.
And there is an interview process, from what I understand. Housing runs that, so you need to be a qualified applicant to apply to be an RA. Another question was, maybe this is a little too specific, but questions about, do you need Red Cross certification in order to be a lifeguard at the RFC?
So all of our positions, if there's any special requirements, they'll be listed in the job posting. It'll be part of the job requirements and qualifications. So just be on the lookout for that, and it'll list specifically what you need.
One thing I wanted to chime in and mention is a lot of our positions around campus, like we're talking, some of them require maybe a certification, but many of them don't require any prior experience or anything at all. So if a student's coming, in as a freshman and really hasn't worked before, or maybe not really volunteered or done anything, just want everybody to know that most of these positions, they are just simply looking for students who can come in and set a schedule, be productive while they're there, and just learn skills and abilities that they need in the processes to hold a position. So we really are wide open here on campus, and students have a great opportunity to come in and land that soft landing here for their first job.
I know there's another question in here about the pay rates for different jobs. Do different jobs have different pay rates? Maybe this is a good time if you've done a job for multiple years. Do you get more for having done it that way?
That's a great question. Tying in, our Washington state minimum wage is $15.74 per hour. And so we do have a couple of 3 different tiers that are used for pay rates. And they can vary by the type of position, by the number of years of experience a student has had. So most students come in and they are at our entry level types of positions, and then they do have that opportunity to kind of grow and learn within their positions, and then potentially have those pay rate increases. And it varies across campus. We do have some very good standards and categories in place, but some of the positions will differ. With great question. There's lots of good opportunity.
Just 2 more questions that have come through, and then we might start wrapping this up. If anybody has any others, just quickly put them in. But can a resume be uploaded to Zags Ignite and reviewed before the jobs get posted?
Absolutely. So in July, you're going to receive an email letting you know that you have access to the system. So that's when, as soon as you get that email, that's letting you know that your credentials are live. You can get in there and get that resume ready, that review piece done. And that way, when the job board launches in August, you'll be ahead of the game with that piece already ready to go.
And lastly, I just want to mention really quickly for Angela, she wanted a follow-up question. Are there any other positions than RA that cover room and board? I know, for example, in Coghlan Hall, there are some peer mentor positions that cover the housing for students that students have to apply for, but not the board piece. So that's another one that students can look into. But lastly, what sort of jobs are there in the RFC? Can you be a personal trainer? Are there opportunities to ref or do things like that?
So our RFC has a variety of things. The supervisor over there is wonderful, and he's kind of tailored it where you can move between the positions. So you might be an intramural ref, you might be working the desk. I don't know if there is personal trainers per se, but I do know that he's made it where you can move kind of between the different positions in the RFC in order to kind of get that experience and then kind of see what you like and what you're good at. Oh, and we have fitness instructors. I forgot that piece. We have students that teach fitness classes too.
I was going to ask, I wasn't sure. I know that they teach Zumba and spin and yoga.
Yeah.
And they're good opportunities to get some work in there. I think before I wrap up, I just want to give Kenzie and Carly just a quick chance to sort of share your final thoughts for students who are thinking about working on campus, who are maybe concerned about, will I have enough time to do the things that I need to do, or just general advice as they're starting to think about this. Why don't we start with Kenzie?
Yeah, I would say definitely apply if you're unsure. It doesn't hurt to kind of get your resume out there, apply to jobs, talk to different supervisors and see what the jobs would look like. From my experience, I think it's definitely been a doable thing having a job on campus. And I definitely have benefited a lot from it. So I would recommend doing it if it's something that you're interested in or if you have work study.
Yeah, just to follow up with that, it's super nice to have like such a flexible schedule and work with people that know that you're a student and that you have other things going on in your life. And it's just super nice to just be on campus, and it's easy to get places after work and stuff like that.
One more question. You have 2 jobs at once.
Typically, we like students to just have one job, and we're hopeful that, you know, they've worked out a work schedule with their supervisor if they have a certain earnings projection that they would like to have, just really mapping things out. I think it's best if students have one job. Once in a while, we have an exception happening. But if you're concerned about not being able to earn enough through your one job, that's when you just simply need to reach out to our office, and we'll do everything possible to kind of keep you within that one job.
One final one for our panelists. If a student wants to work on campus during the summer, does the 20-hour limit still apply?
I can answer that because I am working this summer. So it does not. I will be working 40 hours a week this summer, so a full-time job. So yeah.
Thank you, Carly. I get asked that question occasionally, and I appreciate having the firsthand experience there. Sarah or Katrina, any other thoughts?
No, I think we just, you know, really want to thank all of you for taking the time and having the interest to learn about student employment. Know that our office is a resource. You can reach out to us via mail, phone, you know, check our website out. We have a lot of good information on there that kind of can help you prepare for your journey here to campus. I do want to thank Kenzie and Carly for, you know, giving their student insight and perspective. We really appreciate your time that you've given us here tonight. And we hope to connect with all of you coming to campus here this coming fall.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. I hope you're leaving with a better understanding of student employment opportunities at Gonzaga. As a quick reminder, this webinar was recorded. We will be posting it online next week. So if any of your friends missed it or had questions for you, just know that we will be passing that along and will be available to everybody. Feel free to reach out to student employment using this information on the screen if you have any other questions, or to our admission office if you want to talk about anything else in the lead up to making your final decision. Thank you all so much again, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.